Welcome, everybody. It is so lovely to see you. My name is Patty Barahona, and I'm the CEO at Youth Leadership Institute. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited that you'll be hearing directly from three incredible young people today. And so throughout the night, you might have some questions for the panel of young people. So we ask that you please place them in the chat, and our team will be collecting them to use during the open Q&A section. Got that? So if you got a question, drop it in the chat. We'll get those together. In addition, we're going to be giving away a raffle of some YLI swag. And I don't know if you know, but we have some of the best swag at this organization. So to enter to win, all you need to do right now is to introduce yourself in the chat with your name and your favorite food. Your name and your favorite food. Add it in the chat now. Enter to win. There will be 2 winners drawn tonight at the end of the event. So go ahead and blow up the chat, your name and your favorite food, and we welcome you. Thank you for being here today. I would love to take a moment first to acknowledge our presenting youth champion sponsor, the Marin Community Foundation. Thank you so much for being a long-term partner of YLI and your consistent investment in youth voice and sponsoring this evening's event. MCF's mission statement is really mobilizing the power of community and the resources of philanthropy to advance equity for people, places, and the planet. And we appreciate your support so much. Tonight, we're going to be really centering our conversations around the pillars of YLI's work. And so I'm going to walk you through each in a minute, but that is leadership development, research, storytelling, and campaigns. First and foremost, we cultivate the leadership that young people come in with every single day. We do a lot of different skill development, including public speaking, power mapping, campaign planning, and so many other things. But young people have leadership. We get to just cultivate that through their time at YLI. The second thing we do is research, which is really core, right? If there's a problem in our community, if there's an issue, young people are researching both the issue, but also the solutions for change in their community. So we'll do surveys, walking audits, interviews, and so much more. The third thing we do, which is so core and fundamental, is to do storytelling. And that means that young people are taking the research and the stories of their communities and amplifying them and making sure that those stories are front and center, told in their own words by their communities. And last, but simply not least, we have campaigns for change, right? If we do leadership development, if we do research, if we do storytelling, we actually have to change and move the needle in our communities. And that's what young people do every day, all day, every day. And that means that we're carrying out narrative change campaigns to really shift what people see and hear from young people, and also policy change campaigns. So we're creating systemic change across our communities. Those are our 4 pillars. But now that you know a little bit more about what the YLI model, let's go ahead and check out this video that shows you what this looks like in action.
Young people know better than anyone what's happening in their schools and communities, and have the expertise that we need to make a better world. For 30 years, Youth Leadership Institute has helped young people realize that they have the power to change their communities. Young people learn about holistic leadership, from healing circles to public speaking to understanding the root causes of the injustices their communities are facing. Our programs begin by creating brave spaces where young people can talk openly about their experiences and build trusting relationships with other youth and caring adults. They identify the issues they care about and conduct research to learn more about how these issues impact their communities. Then they share their message with their peers, with their community, and with the rest of the world. And they don't stop there. Young people take their skills, research, and stories and turn them into campaigns for healthcare, parks, housing, and more to create concrete change in their communities. And it's working. YLI young people have passed over 130 policy wins across California. Then we take all the lessons that we've learned on the ground with young people and we share them with governments, schools, and organizations through our training and consulting services so that even more young people are at decision-making tables. And we won't quit until youth voices everywhere are heard, loud and clear. We are Youth Leadership Institute.
That's what's up. I hope you appreciated that and got to see a glimpse of the work. But before I throw it over to our incredible host, first want to shout out the watch parties that are happening. Okay, Eastern Coachella Valley, we see you. Okay, Fresno, we see you too. We got Merced in the house. What's happening, Merced? How you living? Y'all look great over there. And then we got Long Beach too. This is incredible. So thanks for joining the watch parties. If you're at one, I hope you're having a delicious treat of some kind. And we really appreciate you being in community and being with us tonight at While I Rewind. But I want to introduce our host with the most, and that is Michael Yamamura, who has been an incredible leader at YLI, who's going to take us through this evening. Let's give it up one time for Michael, y'all.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Patty. I am so excited to be here tonight, and I'm extremely grateful to get to co-host this event with you. So first things first, shout out to all the young people and adult allies watching us at home or at watch parties tonight. As Patty mentioned earlier, if you have any questions for the young people, please drop them in the chat. Our team will be collecting them as the night goes on. So before we introduce the young people, let me tell you a little bit about myself and my story here at YLI. I first got introduced to YLI through the No Youth Media back in 2020. And I'd say in late 2023, I got hired on as an intern. Fast forward a little less than a year, and I got hired on as a full-time staff member for our prevention and early intervention programs in Fresno County, where I'm lucky enough to get to work at a few of the local high schools, guiding young people along and addressing issues that they see in their communities. So that's enough about me. I'm going to get straight into the real reason why we're here tonight, and I'm going to pass it over to Marin County Program Manager Laura Hay to introduce our first youth speaker.
Hey everybody, my name is Laura Hay, and I am the Program Manager here at the YLI Marin office. I have the great honor of introducing Annie Carmona. Annie serves as the co-chair of the Marin County Youth Commission, a group of 23 young people who works with the Board of Supervisors on local issues and makes real change within our communities. Annie has been an incredible leader, not only as the co-chair, but also just in her various roles with the Marin County Youth Commission over the last couple of years. And in the community. Annie is a leader wherever she goes, and we're always so excited to hear about the different things she's doing with track. She is an incredible runner, and she's always going to conferences that I get to hear about, meets, and is going off to college pretty soon. We are gonna miss her so much, but we know that she's gonna keep doing incredible things both in the Marin County community and where she goes. I think she'll tell you a little bit about it, so I don't want to say too much, but I think I'm just so excited for you guys to get the chance to hear about the work that she's doing. And without further ado, I will pass it over to Annie.
Hi everyone, my name is Annie Carmona. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a member and co-chair of YLI's Marin County Youth Commission and was previously a member of Marin Organizing for Racial Equity. So I got connected to YLI from a friend who's on the Marin County Youth Commission and is actually my co-chair right now. And with YLI, I've been able to find my voice and step into leadership roles that I honestly never expected. So, what is the Marin County Youth Commission? The Marin County Youth Commission is one of the most oldest and most well-regarded youth commissions in the United States. It's made up of about 23 youth who act as a political voice for the young people, particularly those in underserved populations. And the commissions all work alongside the Board of Supervisors when making decisions regarding policy. So, throughout each term, each commissioner breaks up into subcommittees, and we have a total of 5. And we work on projects or events that we get to create and make an impact on the community to help bring awareness and educate people on certain issues. And this year, our subcommittees were alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, also known as ATOD. racial equity, disability justice, education equity, and mental health. So I've been a part of the Racial Equity Subcommittee for the past 2 years now, and the Racial Equity Subcommittee is a group that aims to promote cultural diversity by uplifting and uniting communities of color in Marin. So as a part of our role in the subcommittee, we put on various events, educate the community on racial justice, and advocate for policy change regarding racial injustice. Some of the members this year actually attended a meeting in order to help provide youth input on affordable housing plans in Marin County. And alongside attending these meetings, we hosted our annual Cultural Fusion Fair, which was the second year this year, which actually happened 2 weeks ago. And essentially, it's an event for celebrating a diverse range of cultures throughout workshops, student panels, and tabling. And it really just brings the community together. And then alongside that, like I mentioned, we have the Mental Health Subcommittee, which they host their annual Wellness Festival. And at this event, they are able to connect their community through keynote performances, the Art and Film Showcase, which features local artists, and then workshops. And you're really able to connect everyone together and bring awareness to mental health. And so at that, the Racial Equity Subcommittee does host a workshop every year. So last year we hosted plant potting and like conversation. And this year we are excited to be hosting another workshop. But now I'm going to pass it to the Madera Program Manager, Ani Delgado Limos, to introduce my fellow youth speaker, Nelly Guzman Dominguez.
Hey YLI friends, supporters, young people, and staff. My name is Ani. I'm the program manager for Madera County, and I have the absolute pleasure of introducing you to someone who's very near and dear to my heart, one of the most radiant, funny, and charismatic individuals, all about their community, all about change, and just uplifting people. I'm here to introduce you to the wonderful and amazing Nelly Guzman Dominguez, who I've had the pleasure of knowing for about a year now, and she's just radically different and amazing in every way. So I hope you have a great time getting to learn her story and more about the work she's done.
Hi everyone, my name is Nelly Guzman Dominguez, and I am a youth leader with 3 YLI programs, Youth Across Madera Students, or YAMS, as well as being a member of Your Sacred YAS, and the beginning of Rep 559. As a youth leader, I mentor young members and support in the running of the programs. I got connected to YLI by my friend Paula, who was a part of SWAT, Students Working Against Tobacco, and she introduced me to a group where students got the opportunity to create change in the Madera community. From that group, I got connected to 3 other YLI programs in Madera, Fresno, and Merced County. And knowing more about Students Working Against Tobacco, we would advocate about the dangers of substance abuse, educate the community about secondhand smoking, and present to different middle schools around the Madera County about the dangers of substance abuse. We would attend policy meetings and make public comments, as well as write letter campaigns. With Youth Across Madera Students, I am now advocating about the dangers of heat among the Madera County, Save Our Water outreach, phone banking, and spreading information about the Solona and Bright Life Kids, which is free therapy. And currently, we are now doing our weekly meetings about mental health workshops. Now, I'm going to pass it on to the Long Beach Senior Program Coordinator, Carlos Omar.
This is Carlos, Senior Program Coordinator with YLI and the LBC, coming to you from the Washington neighborhood, home of one Giselle Becerra Murillo. Giselle is a youth that I met for the first time about 3 years ago in a summer program called My Hood, My City. And since then, she's been a part of literally every program that we do. Every single one. She really does it all. Research, writing, art, budget advocacy. She is somebody who I know I can count on to keep it real. She will tell me when the orange juice in the office is not up to her standards. Some low and no pulp ain't gonna cut it, y'all. But she will also always be there to show up for her community, to champion for what they need, and tell us here at YLI about how we can better serve the youth of this area and all of this city. Giselle is an artist, she is an advocate, she is an Office Wii Sports champion, and I'm excited to see what else she adds to that list. And she's coming up next. Here's Giselle.
Hello, everyone. My name is Giselle, and I'm currently a member of 4 YLI programs in Long Beach. First is Voice Waves, the Youth Suicide Prevention Program and the Youth Participatory Budgeting Process, and the LA County Tobacco Prevention Program. I got connected to YLI through my mom. My mom has always been involved in our community for as long as I can remember. She's always been going to meetings with me as a little girl, and I would spend my time in childcare while she was out learning and trying to advocate for better things in our community. The first program I joined was My Hood, My City, which was a program that YLI was working with along with the city of Long Beach. And since the city of Long Beach was working on this program, they were spreading the news about it in different meetings that my mom would attend. And so she heard about this program and she brought it to me and told me about it and encouraged me to join. And so I did. And so let me tell you about the other programs I joined after My Hood, My City. So first we have Voice Waves, which is a youth storytelling program where we write articles on community issues. We just created a zine with the focus of climate change, and now we are focusing on making a zine about immigration. Then we have the Youth Suicide Prevention Program, where we research on mental health and suicide issues, designing presentations and social media posts to spread the word about suicide prevention. And then we are currently working on a presentation which is going to be shared around the community. We're hoping to share these in libraries and schools and clubs around Long Beach. Then we have the Youth Participatory Budgeting process in the city of Long Beach. This program is a youth-led project where we talk to the community and take votes to decide where the city will be spending $500,000 for a summer program. Youth as young as 12 years old can vote on where this money is going to be spent in our communities. My role was a youth facilitator, so I was working with local organizations to create a program based on youth feedback and programs young people needed and wanted. During this time, I would work with other young people to help them understand the process and understand any questions that they had as well. Then we have the LA County Tobacco Prevention Program. This program fights big tobacco, a public health issue that I can't talk all of a sudden. But it's a public health issue that impacts marginalized communities. During the program, we surveyed folks in Santa Monica, Gardena on their opinions on tobacco usage amongst the community. And now I'm going to pass it back to Michael.
Wow, can we get a huge shout out in the chat for the awesome young people that we have here tonight? I don't know about y'all, but I think it's so cool hearing about the work that they're doing. So I think this is a really perfect time for us to learn a little bit more about that. And we're going to get into our Q&A session. So yeah, we're going to move into the first question in just a second. So first things first, what role did YLI have in your leadership development? Has there been a YLI adult ally who had a significant impact in your life or your growth as a leader? I think we're going to get things kicked off with Nelly.
Oh, okay. An adult ally who made a significant impact in my growth as a leader are the advisors Rasleen and Annie. Rasleen gave me a welcoming and comforting environment to rely and trust on. She gave me the confidence I needed to grow and develop my leadership, communication, and interaction skills. Annie was able to do that and much more. She helped me become the person I am today, and for that, I am grateful. Now, I would gladly state that I can now lead a group efficiently while providing the proper communication and interaction with one another.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Now we're going to go ahead and pass it to a different Annie.
Yeah, so honestly, YLI has helped me step up as a leader and has helped me build skills to become a leader over the 2 years that I've been a part of it. It's helped me find my voice and honestly speak up for what I believe is wrong, because before YLI, I was actually very, very shy, and I still am, but it's helped me find my voice in the way that I can speak up for things that if I'm in a conversation with you and I don't agree with you, then I can honestly speak up to it because I feel confident in my voice now. And there's no one role model that I think that has helped me through my journey. I think just being around so many passionate youth and all the YLI staff has helped build me into a leader. And they've honestly made me comfortable to where I can step out of my comfort zone each way and honestly step into leadership positions like coach here this year.
Yeah, I love to hear that. Thanks for sharing that. Now we're going to go ahead and pass it to Giselle.
Yes, so my participation in YLI helped me grow as a leader, as it helped me come out of a shell I had created for myself after COVID. I'm not afraid to speak in front of people, and I'm always ready to take the lead, which I was very afraid of doing before YLI. A YLI adult ally who has significantly impacted my growth as a leader would be Carlos Omar, the senior program coordinator here in Long Beach. He's always pushing me and the other youth here to do more and to where we can gain more experience and knowledge, going out to write articles about different types of meetings and events going around in our community. He's always there to support and help guide us and teach us with all the work we are doing. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. As someone who was in programming, I know that the adult allies I had when I was younger are still so important to me, and they're still such a big part of who I am today. Shout out to Daniel Gonzalez, Johnson Del Rosario. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the next question. So, what skills did you gain that allowed you to grow through different programs that you were in? This time, I think we're going to go ahead and let Annie get us started off.
Yeah, honestly, in YLI, I've gained so many skills. I think the main skills that I've gained through MCYC and more are definitely advocacy skills, networking skills, and interpersonal skills. Like I mentioned before, I was definitely very quiet. So being able to be around so many youth that are also passionate has allowed me to keep conversations going. And honestly, it's been so much easier to talk to people, especially meeting new organizations, government officials, county officials. And it's just helped me become a better advocate and networking with different schools, people, and just connecting with a broader audience.
Think a quick follow-up question. What do you think is one of the most important connections that you've made through your time with YLI?
I think one of the most important connections have definitely been the peers, especially working with them in subcommittees and just working with them for all the projects, just being able to hear each other's stories and then being able to bring your stories together while also hearing the youth in the Marin County to create such an impactful project is definitely so important because you want to be able to hear everyone's voice when you're trying to be the representative for youth in Marin.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Thanks for sharing that. We're going to go ahead and pass it over to Giselle now.
So some skills that I gained from the different programs that I attended that allowed me to grow as a person was I gained more communication skills. I'm encouraged to go out and talk to people. For example, I was out at this communications event and Mason, our YLI rep, he was pushing me to go talk to our mayor and to tell him about the zine that we were making. And so I was really shy and nervous at first, but I ended up doing it, and that was pretty cool to talk to the mayor of my city. And so that's just one of the small little activities that I was pushed to do, and it was such a great experience. And then I've also enhanced my creativity being here with the zines that we're making. They like for us to draw and to design things. And so I feel like that's really helped me grow as an artist as well. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I'm sure Mason is just as excited to see you step out of your comfort zone and grow. Now we're going to go ahead and let Nelly answer.
Yeah, as previously mentioned, some skills I feel like I've gained are communication, networking, and my leadership skills. I was able to grow my communication as the majority of our work revolved around us having to interact with one another. And with that, not only my communication skills improved, but same as my networking, as I'm now able to meet people from different places, backgrounds, etc. My leadership skills have always been a part of me, but with YLI, I feel like I was able to enhance it more.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So we're going to go ahead and move into our third question. So is there a project that stands out to you as something you wouldn't have been confident taking on before your time here at YLI? We're going to go ahead and let Giselle get us started off this time.
So a project that stands out to me that I wouldn't have been confident taking on before a while, I would probably be being the person in the participatory budgeting process who facilitates a group and being the person who talks to the organizations about the programs youth want and ways they can go about it, as well as being the one to answer the questions rather than me being the one asking them questions since they're adults. And then especially as a youth, it felt weird to be telling an adult what to do. But with YLI, I was kind of already used to it because the YLI staff encouraged us to speak out and to share our ideas and be a part of the planning process. For example, in VoiceWaves, we're the ones designing our zine. So we're in charge of the planning and the creation process of the zine with the staff there to support us and help us.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. That really resonates with me. I know before I came into programming, I used to be very shy, but programming really helps you open up being in the space like that. So we're going to go ahead and pass it to Nelly now to answer.
Yeah, a project that stands out to me as it wouldn't be something I would have been confident in taking on before my time in YLI is our weekly workshops for mental health for YAMS. For the month of May, one of our volunteer groups, YAMS, is hosting weekly mental health workshops for the community to join. This has been a project of ours that we are finally taking action in, as we've been planning it for weeks now. Has taken a lot of behind the scenes work and estimation to be able to put these on, and are glad that we are now able to do that. Not only are we able to engage with our community, but we all are able to show our younger folks the opportunities they are volunteering and creating change. And I genuinely feel like with everything I learned while I am now confident in being a leader in it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to hear. I've gotten to be lucky enough to actually see the M space before, and the work they do is amazing. So yeah, that's really cool to hear. We're gonna go ahead and pass it to Annie now.
Yeah, a project that stood out to me was definitely the Cultural Fusion Fair. I did not realize how many steps there were into creating your own event. And with YLI, they supported us through connecting with organizations, budgeting, just being able to connect with the community and bring everyone together on that specific day. I just did not realize how hard it was. And so, like, through the process of creating the Cultural Fusion Fair, um, if I did not have YLI or the Marin County Youth Commission support, I definitely would have had a lot of struggles planning the event, but it's taught me how to be patient through every step and that everything will work out in the end. But through all the skills I've learned through YLI, it's definitely helped with networking and just bringing all the skills together, which made the event so inclusive and possible.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. As someone who gets to be on the other side of things now, I know as an adult ally, our favorite thing to see is when y'all grow into your confidence and really step into your leadership like that. So it's really awesome hearing y'all have those experiences. Moving into the fourth question now. So, what did you discover during the research stage of your projects? Something new or exciting that you found out while you were working on this. We're gonna go ahead and let Nelly get us kicked off right now.
Yeah, so in my other volunteer group, which is Yes, You Are Sacred, which is in Merced, we did a survey and conducted interviews to the folks who live in Merced County to answer our research question: how do aspects of one environment and identity act as barriers to accessing mental health services, and how can we address them? After analyzing our research data, we discovered that it is not the lack of mental resources that's the problem, but more of the expensive that mental resources cost. A lot of our data collection came from the college students who stated the statement was true. Even though Merced College and UC Merced provide mental health resources, the way to be seen takes time. So the students would try to seek for resources, but with limited money they had, how would they afford it? Other factors like transportation and time came in play. So we are brainstorming to come up with a solution, hopefully by this month or June, to assist those in need in Merced County.
No, yeah, that's awesome to hear. Thanks for sharing that, Nelly. We're gonna go ahead and pass it to Annie now.
Yeah, so the Racial Equity Subcommittee knew that in Marin County, housing was a huge issue. And we knew that we wanted to be the voice at a bunch of meetings, but we didn't really know where to start. Like, we didn't really know how youth can create impact for housing policy and implementation plans in our county. But after talking to some of the Board of Supervisors and housing organizations, we've discovered that in order for youth to make the most impact in housing policy, it's not necessarily the policy and legislation part. It's more about showing up to these meetings and being the voice and sharing your ideas, because at these meetings, a lot of people who are against the policy plans will generally be there to speak upon their opinion. And a lot of youth don't actually go to these meetings. They usually work on the backside of things. So this is an aspect that's generally overlooked. But if you stand on that podium and you share your voice and you go against the people that don't want this implementation, it makes so much more impact because they can hear your experience, especially if us as youth want to come back to this county when we're older and we want to create a space that our kids can live in.
Yeah, no, that's amazing work that y'all are doing. Thank you for sharing that, Annie. Now we're gonna go ahead and pass it to Giselle.
Yeah, so in the participatory budgeting process, we have a survey at the end where everyone votes for the projects that they wish will get funding. And so this project has been around for 3 years in Long Beach. And so the first year, we had a organization that was applying, which was a Casa Youth Shelter, and I was working with them. And this was an organization that wasn't necessarily making a program for like fun activities and for recreational things, but for rather helping the youth that are in need. And so at the end, once all the votes were counted and everything, the program that got the most votes was the Casa Youth Shelter. And so that to me, that was big, because not only was it because I worked in it, but because the Casa Youth Shelter wasn't doing a fun program, necessarily like a fun program, but a program there to like help youth to succeed, to live, like the homeless youth that need food and supplies, and the low income, and they're there to help them. And so it just goes to show that youth aren't just thinking about what's benefiting them, what's going to be the best thing for them, because oh, this is going to be fun, but rather they're picking something that, oh, this can help people. And so it just goes to show that the youth mentality, they're not thinking of themselves, but they're thinking of everyone around them as well. And so I think that's really big and inspiring. And so I always like to recall that moment, because it's just like, it's like so real.
No, yeah, that's really dope to hear. I think like a small follow-up is, as a young person, what's it like collaborating with these outside orgs, and why is it so important that we build those partnerships?
Working with these orgs was it was really interesting, but it was a rewarding moment, because we were sitting together and they're actively listening to what I have to say. And so it makes me feel important, because I'm giving them my opinion and they're listening and they're taking in that feedback and like actually incorporating it into their programs that they're designing and making. And it's fun and interesting to be part of that process as well, because then at the end you can say like, oh, I helped in that. I'm the one who helped them. So it's like I get to flex a little bit. Um, but yeah, and then I get to form these connections with them. And so then I'm out in the street or I'm out doing other programs, and then they recognize me, I recognize them, and then we can go and say hello and like talk and chat. And then who knows, maybe down the line they'll be able to help me with something I'm doing in the future, or I can help them. And so it's like a beneficial partnership, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool to hear. Thank you so much for sharing. I love getting to hear from y'all. These are all the questions that we had prepped for today. So I think right now is a really great opportunity for us to move into the audience questions we've collected throughout the night. So let's get started with the very first one we have prepped. So with the diverse audience from across the state, what do you want them to know about the leadership and action that young people can take? Oh, I'm so sorry. I think I skipped the question. I'm so sorry. Yeah, let's move back. Apologize for that. That's on me. So, fifth question, in your campaign that you worked on, whether that be tobacco, extreme heat, climate change, whatever it may be, what's the best way that you found to connect to your community? Let's get started with Annie.
I found that the best way to connect to the community is through events and social media. I feel like it's if you're someone that doesn't necessarily like just go up to random people and start conversation, events are such an easy way to already be around the people that you can connect with, especially if you're in a workshop and you're asked to discuss a certain topic with each other. I feel like that's an easy way to start conversation going, where you can find similarities and maybe even connect on why you're both there. So I think through events, you always meet new people, whether that's a few or so many, but also through that, I think social media is a big part, especially in the younger generations, connecting through social media, whether that's via video or photos. It's just a great way to engage through like likes and comments to spread information quickly as well.
Yeah, no, those are big ones. So, as a part of your campaigns, when you're going to these events to connect with people, what kind of stuff are you looking for? What kind of events do you think are the best in to connect?
Yeah, I think it's the best when there's workshops where you can learn, but also they're engaging to where you can share your story. And I think that's a great way to honestly gain information while also being able to share. I think having a conversation type workshop definitely helps. And then when you're just in an environment where it's inclusive, I think having like music or just like tables and a space where you can just meet new people, I think just being in an area we're almost forced to meet someone, I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, no, that's great insight. Thank you. We're gonna go ahead and pass it to Nelly now.
Adding on to what Annie said, the best way I found to connect with people was actually meeting the people at their door. For me, that meant come up to them first. My advisor Annie would take us to events to do community outreach. We would pass out flyers to people and inform them about the whole purpose for those flyers are and what we are doing. Being able to come up to people and talk to them opens opportunities for engagement. Another way that we found that connected with the community were the workshops. We would post about our workshops and spread the word. For those who arrived, we would start with our workshops and engage with those who come. And that's how we would connect with one another. Our recent workshop was not only able to bring in folks, but those same folks who came in are now a part of our YAMS team, expanding our group event even more. And that's how the way we love to see our group engaging grow by meeting them at their doorstep.
That's awesome. Yeah. So it sounds like y'all were doing a lot of canvassing. That can be very daunting for a lot of people. What was the process like where y'all got prepared for that?
Honestly, it's not okay. So don't be scared for rejection. There's so many times we got rejected, like people didn't want the flyers, or people just kept walking like past us. And at first, yes, it hurt for all of us. But once we got just one person to like take less than 10 seconds just to look at us and acknowledge it, hand just get the flyer off our hands. We were so happy. And honestly, we were like grateful because then from there we that gave us more courage to keep going and to keep trying. Even if it was just one person we spread the word to, we were so happy to know that we actually did something. And those persons will have questions and then they will tell other people and then other people will come from that person. And I feel like yes, it's very like daunting and scary at first. But I feel like since we've been doing this for so long, that we just like to show our younger folks who are now joining the whole process of it and just not let them be discouraged of the rejection because rejection is redirection and we believe that so much.
Yeah, no, that's awesome to hear. That's the resilience that we love to see in our young people. It's all about celebrating those small wins. So thank you for sharing that. We're gonna go ahead and get it passed to Giselle now.
Yeah, so I agree with Nelly and Annie 100%. Like everything that they said was so true. And I actually said something similar as well. Because for the tobacco work, we would go out to fairs to survey people, and we would put up a sign saying that we would give them gift cards if they took our survey. But not many people would stop by. So because not many people would stop by, I decided to get up out of my chair and be the one to approach people rather than be have them approach me. And so a lot of people said no, but we still got many people who wanted to take the survey. And then those who did take our survey, we got to like communicate and connect really well into like a deeper level past that survey. Because once they're answering the survey, they answer the question and then they also throw in their own personal experiences, their own personal stories. And then I find that so rewarding. So I keep that as my motivation to be the reason why I go up to talk to people, because I love to learn like the personal story of that person and what they carry with them, and how that's helped them shape who they become now and who I'm seeing in front of me. And that's just such an interesting connection that people can create. And I just love that. And so that's my motivation of being why I can go up to people and talk to them first.
Yeah, no, I love hearing how important those connections are. You can have 100 bad conversations in a day, but if you end on a good note, that's what you're going to remember. So that's really cool to see. So now we're actually going to move into our audience Q&A section. So right off the bat, going with our first question, with a diverse audience from across the state, what do you want them to know about the leadership and action young people can take? I think I'm going to open the floor. Whoever feels ready to answer that question first can go for it.
I could go first. Is that okay, Michael?
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, with a diverse audience, honestly, and being able to be in so many open spaces and workshops and events and outreach and so many things that I've been about volunteered in, it does not matter like where the background you come from, where you come from, what you're there for. The important thing is that you're doing something and that is creating a change that you are genuinely passionate about, and that is something that it takes a lot of courage to do, and it's very good acknowledgement. Honestly, what I would want people to know about the leadership and action about young people could take is small change is still change. A little bit is still a lot in the end. And even if you don't see it, if you don't even see it in your lifetime, you're creating something that another person's gonna take over. And it's just one thing that lives up to something bigger.
Yes, exactly. Well, when I was younger and we were working on campaigns, we always used to say, anytime you move that boulder just a little bit, you're at least an inch closer, and that's a win. So that's great to see that mindset still persevering. So yeah, we're gonna leave it open again. So if someone else wants to answer the same question, again, it's with a diverse audience from across the state, what do you want them to know about the leadership and action young people can take?
Yes, I can answer that question next. So what do I want them to know about the leadership and action young people can take? So young people, I think they're very like they can do anything, honestly. Like if they just put their mind to it, young people can do anything. And they're great leaders, but they just need like a platform where they can come out and show that, and be the ones who like lead and decide to do things. Like they just need that platform, which is why I think organizations like YLI are really great because they give people a platform. They gave me a platform. Like I've been thinking about climate change for as long as I knew what climate change was. And it's been something that's been stuck in the back of my mind since like forever. And so I was able to like work on something related to climate change through YLI because it gave me that platform. And that's where the zine came from after. And so that's just something that is like so wonderful. Like these organizations exist to give us a platform where we can come out and change the world and make it so much better than what it already is. And then to give us a little bit of motivation, honestly, like you just need to have food. Like bring food and I'll do anything. I'll do anything for food. Like there's like this one Wildlife shirt that I really love. That's probably like my favorite shirt ever. And it goes, I came for the pizza, but I stayed for the community because that is so real. Like I would do anything for food. And honestly, when my mom told me about the YLI, My Hood, My City, I remember it saying that there was gonna be food present and that and that they were gonna give us stipends. And then honestly, that was kind of my big motivation, my big push to joining because I was like, oh, free food, money. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I love to hear that. That shirt was actually inspired by something a young person said that I was in programming with. Shout out to Nancy if she's watching. She's also a staff member now, so who knows what's gonna happen with you three next. But that's awesome to hear. Annie, would you like to answer, or are we ready to move on to the next question?
Yeah, honestly, I can just add on to what Nelly and Giselle said, but I think I always think of it as like the sky's your limits. So take the risk, and if it doesn't work out the first time, try and try again. Like you honestly have to hit failure before you can hit success. And just be sure to like embrace the whole journey. Once it's over, it's amazing, but you'll realize that like every little step was worth so much, and just cherish every memory and every connection that you've made, as well as just like don't be afraid. Um, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Annie. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the second question. What would you tell a friend who's thinking about joining a program or yeah, what would you tell a friend that's thinking about joining a program that you were in? Again, I'm gonna open the floor to whoever wants to answer it first.
I think I'll go first as well. Honestly, what I tell people, because I feel like I like to spread the word about a lot of the stuff that I do, is that it's definitely a way to make connections. And growing up, I feel like that's what all what it is, making connections. Because we could come from the same background, same college, same education, but yet it comes down to who you know. And I feel like it's a great way to make connections, as well as Giselle mentioned, there's food, there's stipends, there's things to help us as individuals, like growing up through college and stuff like that. So I generally tell them like it's very beneficial in the end. And lastly, you are creating change. You are doing something to help not just yourself, but for others as well. And it is very beneficial, not just for an individual, but your whole community. And that's technically what I like to tell people. And that's what basically intrigues them to stay and continue on coming.
Exactly. Networking, getting fed, and making a change. That's the highlights of why I think you summed it up perfectly. So again, we're gonna open it up. Whoever wants to answer, just to repeat, what would you tell a friend who's thinking about joining a program that you were in?
I can answer next. Something I'd tell a friend that's thinking of joining is that again, take the risk. Like you never know what's gonna happen. Like you just never know. Like this could be something that can change your life for like the better, and you just never know. Like just give it a shot, because you never know. Like, I can't stress that enough. You never know. And which is why you should give it a shot, because you never know. You never know. You're getting paid doing this, so like, what's the issue? And you're getting fed. Like, food, say less. Say less. Yeah.
No, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's a really important message to take home. If you asked me before I joined YLI where I'd be in 2025 right now, this is not what I would have pictured at all. So you truly just cannot be closed off to the opportunities it presents to you. Same thing, I'm going to leave it open if you'd like to answer, Annie. But if not, we're good to move on.
Yeah, I just have one thing. I would really emphasize Giselle's you never know. I think if you're very hesitant on joining one of the YLI programs, which you shouldn't be, just join. And if it's not something you like, then at least you know that. But you can have so many opportunities and there's a full door open for you. And if you walk in, you just never know what you're going to walk into. But it can honestly be life-changing and your connections will stay with you for so long, which will help you in the future. And a lot of people don't know that, but in order to like, I feel like in today's society, like connections are everything, and that's how you get really far in like jobs or just like friends. But it's like, it's amazing once you have those connections because you have so many people that are there to support you and to lean on. And it's just an amazing culture.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much for sharing that, Annie. We're going to go ahead and move into our third question. So, have any of the projects you've worked on helped you clarify what you'd like to do in the future as a career? This is a really great question. Again, I'm gonna open the floor. Whoever wants to go for it first, go ahead and go for it.
I can go first. Um, so I'm currently in college, and I'm kind of like undecided in what I'm gonna do. But I know that I'm gonna like do something like to make money, and something like for me. And so the one to make money, that one's gonna be like healthcare related, because I really want to help people. That's like something that I've been big on. Like, I want to help people. That's it. And then the second one, which is like what I'm gonna do kind of as like a hobby side hustle thing, is I'm gonna like continue making zines, either informative or like just like fun little comics kind of things. And like making that zine was something I learned through YLI. They taught me how to make a zine, and what goes into it to make it a zine and everything, and how it can be like a comic, a little fun thing, or like something informative. And so I think I'm gonna continue making that even after like my term with YLI is done. And then as well as making animations as well, to have like informative pieces and informative little animations, and like tell my story, like continue storytelling through the media and like all these different ways, because it's something that I found to be so helpful to me, and to spread the word out in my community about like different things. And it's something I just really want to continue doing, no matter like what I decide to do as like my main career. But like, I'm set in stone. I'm like gonna continue doing zines and like follow animation as like a side thing.
That's awesome. It's always such a proud moment for us when we see our young people find little side passions like that. So I'm really glad to hear that. Again, I'm gonna leave it open to answer if anyone wants to. Have any of the projects you've worked on helped you clarify what you'd like to do in the future as a career?
I'll go next. Um, so I'm personally very passionate about becoming a pediatric nurse. I feel like that path has chosen me. Ever since I was in middle school, I was dedicated to it. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a nurse for kids. But now being a part of so many wildlife programs, it made me realize that I want to do something with policy changing, and I want to do something like genuinely. As I mentioned, my friend Paula and I are like covalent bonds. We share the same brain. We're the same person, and we were in a poli sci class, and we were talking about like different governments, stuff like that. So and combining that with YLI, we realized that we kind of want to become lawyers as part of our like career, because we want to do something that this with policy, because there's so many things that are going on and so many social justice that we deal with YLI, and we believe that we could do it, because it may seem hard, it may seem challenging, but we generally believe that we could create some sort of change even more farther, to the extent that we were just brought upon by YLI. And that's something that Paula and I are very passionate about.
Yeah, no, I love hearing that. It reminds me of me being in programming back in high school with my best friend Ashens and us saying, "Oh, we really want to work for YLI one day." And now I'm a staff member and he's a board member, so there's truly not a question in my mind that you and Paula are going to get wherever it is you're supposed to be and you're going to do amazing work. So yeah, I think now we're gonna leave it open for the last person to answer the question if you want.
Yeah, so before YLI, I knew I always wanted to do like something in the STEM field. So maybe that was like engineering or environmental science, but something related to science. And when I started my work with YLI, I just fell in love with like advocacy work. And so I thought about doing like criminal justice because I always wanted to do ta that type of work, but I also knew that I didn't want to just like settle for one type of career. So I knew I wanted to incorporate science related career somehow. And that's when I found a forensic biologist. And so through that career, I want to take the evidence from the crime scenes and then be able to bring them to trial in order to bring justice and like advocate for the families that don't feel that they are being treated fair in court or feel like their case was being unheard. So I was able to combine them and really incorporate my love for advocacy while also doing science.
Yes, it is so dope seeing how passionate y'all are about this kind of stuff. There's truly not a doubt in my mind that y'all are going to go on to do amazing things. And I think I speak for everyone on the call tonight when I say we're really excited to see what you all accomplish. So that is all the time that we have for audience questions for the night. Sorry if we didn't get to your question, but thank you so much for the audience members that dropped something in the chat earlier. So before I head out, let's give a really big shout out in the chat to the amazing YLI young people that we had on the panel tonight and the rest of them too. Why not? So, Annie, Giselle, Nelly, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. We're so honored and grateful for the partnership, and we truly cannot wait to see what you all do. So, that's enough of me yapping tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and hand it back to Patty. Thank you.
Amazing. Oh my God. Okay, let's give it up one time for Michael, Giselle, Annie, and Nelly. That was wonderful. And give it up one time for yourselves for giving all the positive affirmations, respect, and love that you have given in the chat. This is YLI. YLI has centered for over 30 years the voices of young people, what they're passionate about, and the community change that they want to make every single day. Tonight, I'm going to ask you to invest in YLI. Invest in the hundreds of people like Annie, Nelly, and Giselle who we work with across the state. You know, ahead of the election, we connected with young people and asked them what they would need post-election, no matter who the candidate was. And they asked us for three really key things. One is that we continue the programming that you heard about tonight so that they can see themselves in powerful positions in their community, like you heard tonight. The second is that we would need to continue to provide participant stipends and emergency funds to families facing hardships, which we have done. And we've given out about $8,000 in emergency funds to cover groceries, PG&E bills, rent, and other basic needs. And the third thing is that young people asked us to continue to give them hope. Young people were acutely aware of the threat and the current threat of this administration and what it is posing for our immigrant families, for our queer families, for the environment, and for so much more. So young people asked us to provide them with that hope. And I think you heard that throughout tonight with some of the work that the Adult Allies have done, inspiring these incredible young people. So invest in YLI today because your donation helps us do just that, to run dynamic programming and continue to do that in our local communities, to provide financial resources for the well-being of young people's families, and to continue to show up every day providing hope and work in service of social justice. So please donate today. There's a QR code there. We invite you to do that. I'm dropping things in the chat for you. We really appreciate all of your support matters. So we thank you for that. But before we close out tonight, I want to say thank you again to Michael, Giselle, Annie, and Nelly for their leadership, for their courage, for their energy, for their stories, for their work across our communities. I want to thank our presenting youth champion sponsor, Marin Community Foundation, for your partnership. I want to thank all the watch parties that are out there and all the house parties that are out there. Really, dialing in, doing something really important with your night tonight, which is listening to the voices of young people who are creating change every single day. I also want to thank the team that made this possible. They're beautiful, amazing, incredible leaders that are putting this beautiful orchestra together for you tonight. And I want to thank Carolyn. I want to thank Cody. I want to thank Fatima. I want to thank Tim. I want to thank the adult allies that came through with those amazing videos. Ani, Carlos, and Laura, appreciate you. I want to thank the board members in the room. Your support means so much to us, and you being here, it means a lot. To the staff that worked a very long day creating hope for young people and for being with us tonight to listen to these stories. Thank you for all that you do. So really, really appreciate you all. I do want to do a drum roll though, because we have our 2 winners of the raffle. So first up, let's get the air horns. All right, we got, thank you. We got Marisol H. Marisol, are you out there? Because you just won some YLI swag. It is your night. Congratulations to you. We're gonna have you email Carolyn. I'm sure that's getting in the chat so we can get the right size for you. All right, next drum roll. Get the air horns ready, Fahad. Let's go. Thank you. You won tonight. You won that YLI swag. So please do email Carolyn so we get the right size for you. Appreciate all that you do. So congratulations to the winners. Do please email Carolyn, our YLI staff member. The email is going to be dropped in the chat if it hasn't already, so that we can get that prize in the mail to you. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for listening to these stories. Thank you to the young people that do this work every single day, to the staff that act as partners and as supporters and as cheerleaders every single day. And thank you to our community for donating to YLI, for investing in this work every single day. We appreciate you. But with that, we want to thank you for your support. Give it up one time for yourselves. I hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you again for being here. Take care. Bye, y'all.